Hey there, boys, girls, and squirrels. My name is Modstab, and welcome back to the Minecraft Giant Build series. Excuse me, I apologize if I cough. I was up a little bit late last night. Not terribly late. So, as you guys could probably tell by now, I didn't release a video yesterday. We had some family stuff go on, outside of, obviously, the Easter celebration, things like that. We had some family stuff go on. I'll keep you updated on that in the future. But, yeah, long story short, that's why we didn't have a video yesterday. However, I do want to get back into the swing of things with this Let's Build series, because I'm just loving that it's probably the most ambitious thing I've ever tried to tackle in my life. And it's wunderbar. Now, that being said, we need to get to the detailing, okay? We need to get to the detailing. Now, I'm going to change some things up, at least according to the image I have here previously. Now, we have a couple things going on. So, first thing I want to do is try to tackle this thing as much as I can from top to bottom. Now, to kind of put things into the correct perspective, I want to try to get some kind of torches along the sides here, and then they have some pillars on the corners, which I'm assuming are probably the span of 4, but we're gonna work with that. Okay, we're gonna work with that. Let's go in here and get some good stairs. We want these guys because we want them to reflect that same color scheme. Let's see, we're gonna need something to catch fire, so we want to do some nether. Where are we at? Give me that nether rack. Making netherrack look good is always an adventure in itself. What are you? Nether star. Cool. Getting netherrack to look good in general is always a little bit of a hard place. But I legitimately want these to be able to create some ambient light, so I'm not going to do the classic, oh, here's a fake little, I guess, holster for the fire, and here's some glass and things like that to make it look cool. I want it to be a little bit more functional than that. So what we need to do is we need to figure out what blocks we want to make things out of to make them look a little bit more industrial. Now, I think for the most part, everything on here, that should all be done. I might have to come back to the windows at a little bit later date, but we want things to look a little bit more kind of metallic. Now, we could do, since this is creative, we could do bedrock, give that a shot, because that kind of has that metallic feel to it. But we also would like to try to get some darker stairs. Whoops. Where are we at? I think we'll get a couple. Yeah, we'll get those stairs, because I think those are going to be the closest we can get. We'll probably throw some nether just to try to see if that will work for us. Other than that, I think we're going to go ahead and give it a shot. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to put some stairs here, just to kind of have stairs, just to kind of put a place down. Now, I'm not entirely sure if that's the size I want to go, or if I want to go slightly bigger. You know what? Forget it. Let's go bigger. All right. And we want a 3x3, right? Yeah. 3x3? I like how that looks. So we're going to go with a 3x3 just to give us some spacing here, because ultimately there will be some pillars, and, well, quite frankly, it's just aesthetically a lot nicer when you can have that 3x3 shape, because you can build some nice stuff and have like a centralized peak and things like that. So we're going to go ahead and put all those on each of the corners, and then instead of finishing these guys, I want to get the spacing for the fire kind of, what are they called? Cauldrons. Fire cauldrons. Fire. What are they called, guys? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'll probably come back to it in a minute and realize how silly that my grammatical frustration is. But I want the cauldrons, the pipes, the pots, the pans, the goblets, I don't know. I want them to be spaced pretty evenly. So I'm thinking initially, what I want to try to do is fit like 4 of them on here. So what we'll try is just a couple quick little tests. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll actually put them on each of the corners here. And then let's, you know, if we just went for the gusto, I shouldn't say gusto. If we just went for it like that, we'd have 3 on the front, 3 on the back. So you'd have 1 on the left here, 1 in the middle, and then 1 on the right side. I think we can make that happen. Now, that being said, I want to go probably 3 tall on all of these. And I'm picking bedrock intentionally because I think it has kind of that nice metallic feel to it. Obviously, in creative, you can destroy it, but not. You can't do this necessarily in a real build. So that's the only thing that we'd have to maybe look into for a survival map. But you can always just use like the polished andesite, or even like just like andesite in general. And I'll go ahead and put that right next to it. That way we can show you what it looks like in tandem. So this just has like that more metallic, like metal, like irony structure to it. But you could get away with something like that that has some decent amount of texture. And there's so many other blocks. I mean, you could use cobblestone, stone bricks. You could use smooth stone. So there's a lot of options you have to kind of fill that in. But we're going to go ahead and I want to kind of, I'm going to put that there just so we can get it upside down. I like the idea of something like this. Now, I'm not sure if that's exactly how I want it to look, but I like this. I do. I really do. Now, the catch is, will just a single item be, or single netherrack be enough to give us the fire we're looking for? Or do we want to go with a 4? We should probably actually figure that out before we do anything. I think from this far away, we're gonna want to go with like a 4 port. So what we'll do is we will simply just expand what we've been doing. Now, what I might decide to do is move all of these back 1 spot, because I would like to, if we're gonna go 4 wide, get a little bit of something to lead up to it. Now the question is here, probably have to, this one's gonna be slightly off center because we don't have a perfectly squared area for a 2-block middle. So it'll be slightly off-centered, but it'll get the point across, right? And then we just go 3 tall here. Now, I know I'm not the perfect builder when it comes to all this kind of stuff, so we're gonna do a couple just to get a feel for how I want things to look. Thinking of, yeah. Excuse me. I got the burps, so I'm kind of a little bit distracted here. Anyways, I'm not the perfect builder when it comes to like these super creative ideas, but I like the challenge in Minecraft of coming up with kind of something unique. I think we're gonna have to try to round that off a little bit. We might do some trapdoors as well. I know they're usually good accents. Maybe some fences. I'm not entirely sure. What I want to try to do is see if we want to go with like the darker stairs, the darker colors, or whether we want to get like those brighter, more metallic looking colors. I like the contrastiness that we have going on here. Let's look at some fences because, yeah, we have another rack fence. So we're going to put that here. And then we want a kind of a, where's my stone fence? I know there's a stone fence here. Oops. Holy moly, I'm totally off-centered everywhere. Is there not a stone fence? No? Wall. That's what it is. It's a wall, not a fence. We're going to put that in our inventory right now because, well, frankly, we don't need it. Now, I'm curious. Would doing something like this... that gives us a lot more depth and a lot more like feel, like it has that gradation, I guess, so to speak. Now, would a fence work better, or do we like that one? So I guess we can test a lot of different theories here. Let's see what we got. So I like the feel of the wall here, But the problem is I don't think there's any other wall. Yeah, we have 2 walls. We have the mossy cobblestone wall, and we have the cobblestone. The cobblestone is the only one that actually makes sense, because we don't want any type of greenery here, because it's not supposed to be a green item. It's supposed to have fire, so it rust, if anything. Now, if we were to look at it from here, though, you can't. Okay. Oops. All right. So we do have a little bit of ambient light there, and we're gonna have to work with that a little bit. But at nighttime, obviously you have the guy over here that pops a lot more. But this guy blends in so much. What if instead of this gray, we can't really do wood on the top here, but what if we were able to, let's say, do some dark oak instead of the bedrock? Because that creates a much like older feel to it. Now I like how that one looks. Now let's see what we're looking at here for the dark oak. Is it not quite contrasty enough? Does it let it blend? Does it work better? Does it work worse? Oh yeah, we have to go that route. Now, let me check. So we definitely figured out that we want to have the kind of grayish feel to it. Now, instead of the netherrack, what I want to do here is put some cobblestone down. I know the only downside to this is we're gonna lose the kind of texturing that adding that wall adds, but maybe. Obviously at a far distance, it's a little harder to see the cobblestone and the stone differences. This guy has a slightly darker tonality to it, so there is that. Now what if we did, let's say this, in comparison. I'm leaving those kind of open as well because it kind of creates that illusion that it's kind of like a peaked, like on 4 sides, I guess, so to speak. Now maybe we could even do something silly. I don't like these on here. So now that we established we don't like those, what if we did? I don't think it would create enough space to do something like that, but we could always give it a shot, right? Worst case scenario, it doesn't work the way I wanted it to. Now if we do that, however, we are... Let's do it. Let's try this. Oh yeah, nope, we're going with that one. I figured it out, guys. I figured it out. We are absolutely doing that. Okay, that's the build we're going with, and I'm sticking to my guns. All right, that actually looks really fun. All right, so it kind of, once again, although you're gonna be able to see up into here, slight break in immersion, but not gonna be walking up here very often. But we're gonna do the upside down stairs. Now, what I wanna test is, would it work better to fill in the corners now that we have... get up there. Get up there, friendito. Would it work better to fill in the corners? It does make it look a little bit more blocky. A little bit more squared. Yeah, we're going to go without these. And we're going to go with... That's right. Stone brick stairs. Now I might as well get rid of everything here. Whoops. Because this makes it look a lot more rounded rather than kind of just one big old giant block. Yeah. And we want it to look slightly nicer, so I guess that's kind of what my thought process is when it comes to the stone bricks, is although they don't have as much texture to them per se, they do make it look a little bit more sophisticated, and with the dark oak as well as the cobblestone wall, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, it kind of makes up for the difference. So we're just going to go for the gusto. We're going to put all these in. Now that we've experimented and kind of found out what we're thinking of for ideas here, I'm going to go ahead and take care of the rest of this off camera, get it all built up, and kind of give you guys a flyby on what we were thinking. So, yeah, let's get it done. I'll see you guys when we get there. All right, friends and family, welcome back. So from down here, I'm pretty satisfied with them. They have like kind of this like hourglass-ish looking shape to them. They got a lot from down below. It looks like they have a decent amount of texture. The closer you get to these things, the worse I feel they do. But one thing I have found out kind of with Minecraft is less detail can sometimes be a better thing. And now, with that in mind, I like the ambient light they cast. Now I can imagine with the shaders mod on, that looks superb because the fall off on it's going to be a lot nicer. I just like that it casts something across the whole way and it has kind of this diamond shape to it just because how we built it. I don't know, it just feels kind of nice. Now the next mission in my beautiful, beautiful life is we need to figure out what we're gonna do for this next pieces. And I'm thinking what I kind of want to do is, where is my sand? Now we have the cuts. We're gonna try some chiseled sandstone because I think that will give us some nice texturing. Now, technically this bottom portion of it doesn't really matter, but what I'm hoping, yeah. I really like that. And one thing that I have to keep in mind when I'm building this is that this is roughly twice as tall as the fire pillars. And so what I think we're gonna do here is we're gonna go this route. We're gonna go until we're dead even. Let's see if I can pull this off right. We need kind of like a fancy little pillar with something sitting on the top. I'm not sure how we're gonna get that to work, but we're gonna go until we are as tall as them. And then what we are gonna try to do here is we're gonna use the staircase to create kind of, once again, that nice little hourglass figure. And to keep the texture slightly different, I'm gonna try to use the chiseled sandstone. We're gonna use the chiseled sandstone. And let's try to do, let's leave it at 3. Now, what I'm gonna do here is try to make kind of a little, like a pedestal, like platform. Now, the interesting thing about the top here is it has a different colored stone. So, give me just a minute to see what I can do with creating a stone and kind of putting it on the top of this pillar. And then I will be right back for you guys. As you guys can see, I kind of broke down and I went ahead and got the shaders mod and loaded that version up instead of the one that had my forge for the world edit because, well, frankly, we're at the detailing stage and so we don't need all the huge giant dibbly dobbers. But I like it. I like it. So what we did here was we went 3 tall with a regular glass pane. And we put just some of the sea lanterns in the middle because it kind of creates that light. Now, what I kind of want to try to do is see if we can't inlay, before I get carried away here, let's do some things. I want to test something, and I wanted to test this one specifically on the camera because if I can get this to create a nice crystal glow without having to worry about it, that would be wunderbagen. All right. Oh, I have an idea. It might be cool. It might be horrible, but I have a glorious idea. Now let's see. Now I know beacons can shine light. They can shine light, but they might give us like a little pillar as well, if everything works as I hope it does. Now that being said, we'll kind of walk you through now what we did. So on the bottom here, we have a beacon or a sea lantern. I guess whichever one is kind of your preference. If I remember correctly, these beacons will shine a pillar straight up. Maybe they changed how that works. I don't really care because it'll look cool either way. But we have 3 pillars of just lime stained glass. And then in the middle of each of those, we put 1 more block of stained glass. And then we did stained glass panes to fill in those corners. The next tier was completely done out of stained glass panes. And then the very top one was a full stained glass. The reason I did that is because it kind of creates this triangle. Whoa, I'm getting too excited. It kind of creates this triangular kind of prismy looking shape, and I really, really like how it looks. Now, how this is going to work in its entirety is we have a lime green on opposing corners, and then we're going to have like a kind of a darker blue on the opposite ones. So we're going to go ahead and get all of those put together, and then we'll see how it looks. And if I like it, I like it. And if I don't, I guess I don't, and we'll work on it from there. But I'll see you guys once we get that taken care of. All right, guys. So we have definitely returned. Now, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. So as you guys could, I'm sure, tell, I'm going to get rid of this first and foremost. So we have an open hand. Yeah, that's right. So I went ahead and put all of the little guys on each of the 4 corners of this particular. I love how the light reflects off these glass panels in the shader mod. Getting distracted. But I put each color in its kind of opposite corner, and then adjacent to it we put the opposite corner. But I wanted to kind of create that illusion of like magic or majesty, or kind of this, I don't know, this, I don't know, it looks fancy. So I took the opposite color of panel and I kind of surrounded it in a small cone-ish shape. Now, it's not perfect because I did everything by hand, so it's not exactly the same on any one of them, which I think for me is kind of the charm. They all have that idea of that it's kind of wrapping up and circling around this these kind of stones, but they're not exactly the same. So they kind of have that illusion that they're all kind of moving independently and things like that. I don't know. It's just a lot of fun. Now, the next mission in my life, at least in this episode, is to tackle a bell. Yes, you heard me right. A bell. I have no idea how we're gonna do this, but we need to get a bell hanging down from the top here. Now, obviously, the first thing we need to figure out is make sure that we're at the very least centered here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and do some measurements, get things centered, and then we're gonna try to see if we can't get as close to a bell shape in Minecraft as possible. So I think what I'm gonna try to do is, oh man, I really don't know. So we got this taken care of. This is dead center in the top of this building. The hard part is how are we going to get the type of desired curve that we are looking for? And then we have to remember that it has to feel rounded. So what I started with was a 4, kind of a, this guy I'm using as kind of its extension, as its rope that's holding it into place. It's not going to be a functional one, obviously. But what I think we need to start by doing is start kind of in these centralized areas. Now, I picked stripped wood because it's not going to be quite as planky as everything else. So what we need to do is we need to figure out how we are going to get said bell curve. Now, with that in mind, I'm going to take care of this. Okay, we're gonna make it midnight so that the moon is dead center on top and it doesn't distract me. So we know that this is gonna come out, but it needs to, oh, this is such a difficult task. I think what I want to try to do is what we'll just do is stick with something like this, and then I'll work on getting the bell curve taken care of in one particular direction. And then once we get the curvature of it correct on one side, I think what we'll be able to do is apply that in the correct manner all the way around. Now I'm digging that. So what do we got? We got 3 and 3 to start with. Now I know this is dramatically going to start widening out, so instead of doing 3 to 3, we're going to try some 2s, okay? We're going to try some 2s and see how that works. Because we need this thing to widen out. Whoops. We need to get 2. And then we'll do 3 on this one, because obviously we don't want it to hang out too far. Remembering that it is going to widen out. Now that, to me, that looks like a decent bell curve. Now we'll go down. Let's go down 2, 3, and let's call this one. I think that's a decent bell curve. Now, once we get everything else squared away, I think that'll work quite nicely. So we're going to run with that. And we'll use the slabs kind of to help us with the corners, but for the time being, I think that's the winner chicken dinner. All right. So we're going to try to replicate it just in regards to this. Let's see what we're doing here. We need 3 here. Now, what I'll do is I'll fix the texturing of the stripped spruce wood here in just a minute. But what I want to make sure is that we get the correct bell curve without it hanging too far out on either side. So we need 3 and 3. All right. So this is feeling good. We might be just a touch wide, but we'll figure it out. I don't know. Maybe we're not as wide as I thought I was. Okay. This is kind of fun. I'm loving it. I am loving it so much. All right. And once we get this portion of it taken care of, I think rounding it off is going to be fairly straightforward. But then again, I have been wrong plenty of times before, and I completely reserve that right. Overall, it's not as complex to get a bell curve as I thought it would be. Now, this is a one-dimensional plane, essentially, so I'm not rounding it. That's going to be the difficult part, but or at least one would assume that that's the difficult part. Now, what we'll have to do is we'll have to remove these corners, because I think they're going to be too blocky for what we're trying to get done here. Building in angles and rounded edges and curves in a game where you can exclusively work with things that have a block shape is an interesting challenge. It's such a interesting challenge, but I think it's a good challenge because it forces you to be creative and to think critically with how you want things to be placed. You can't just go willy-nilly. Oh, I have a slight off-axis kind of brick that gives me an incline or a decline or a rounded edge. So that's kind of what sets Minecraft apart from a lot of the other games that I have played. Now, one of my favorite games to build in, at least in their creative aspect, at least as of right now, and I know it's not the most extravagant game, and it's not really noted necessarily for building, but I enjoy, 7 Days to Die. I just enjoy how they handle, get that in there we go. I enjoy how that they have all these extra blocks that will kind of all allow you to build at different angles, at different inclines. They have arches and archways, and it's just so much fun because it, well, quite frankly, makes building modern structures so much easier. But the challenge of trying to build something in Minecraft never ceases to amaze me. Now, what we need to do is we need to make sure that we'll fill this guy. No, we don't want to fill that in yet. We got to figure out how we're going to round all these edges off without taking away. And I think what we're going to have to try to do is we're going to have to try to do one of these things. And then this is where building with the the platforms and things like that, I think are going to really come in handy, because we'll be able to soften up these corners and make them look a lot nicer. At least that's my hope, that's my intention. But we will find out very shortly if my hopes and intentions match up with reality. I think the first start to making sure we get this rounded off correctly, though, is to get this kind of ground level taken care of, figure out how it's going to look when it's all blocky, and then figure out where we need to trim. So what we need to do here is we're going to finish this curve off. So now we have 1, 2. Yeah, I think that'll give us, yeah. So we have 1, and then we're going to need this guy to come in here, because we need this to, let's see, we need these guys to match completely up. So before I get carried away, I want to do something like this. All right, let's see do we think this will work for rounding everything off? Or will it be from the bottom? That's got an okay curvature to it. What if we took this staircase and did it one this way instead? Because that's a lot more subtle of a curve. And what we'll do is we'll get rid of you. We're going to have to replace this guy here. But my hopes are that that helps the curvature be a lot more subtle. I don't know. I do not know. Because I know we have to have that there. Probably going to have to get rid of all these corners and figure out what we're going to do there. This spot is not bad, so the first kind of tier isn't a bad option. This is what's driving me a little bonkers, because I think what we're going to have to do is something like this. Yeah, I think that might work. So let me go ahead and get that around the bottom here. Let's see if we can't make that work across the way. So essentially what we have is we have 2 here, 1 down. Okay, 1 down. Get out of here. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna get this bottom portion rounded off, and then I'm gonna see you guys once we get that taken care of, because you don't need to be on this adventure. All right, so it took a little bit longer than expected, but we did get it nice and rounded off down here. And I went ahead and did the interior and just kind of surrounded it with my stripped spruce wood. Now the real challenge is getting this curvature to work properly. Now I think doing something like that is going to help significantly when it comes to kind of helping these not be quite as dramatic. Now, they'll also help with some texturing and things like that as well. But my only concern is, do we put like stairs like this in there and then kind of fill in that gap? I think they help round it off a lot more. I really, truly do. Oh, those do look really nice though, don't they? And then if we were to put like, let's say something like that in there, that helps a lot. Now what if we did some stairs here as well? Just kind of help take some of that edge off. Get out of here, son. Get out of here, son. Get out of here, son. Thank you. Now, let's see. Yeah, I like having the full guys down here. Now, we can always fill in these little extra spaces. I just want to make sure they tailor off in such a way that makes sense. Now, does something like that fit? I think something like this we can make work because it has kind of a nice little bell curve to it. I think we're going to go with something like this. So I'm going to go ahead and replicate that around the entirety of this bell. We're going to see how it looks after I fill in all those gaps, and I will see you guys once we get there. Oh, this is so fun. I love this so much. And we are back. And I know it's not perfect, but before you guys get carried away, if you haven't already done it, but Devin, bells aren't made out of wood. They're made out of brass. Well, guess what? There aren't brass slabs or brass staircases or even brass blocks, okay? I know there's gold and you can use that to simulate it, but then again, you're using slabs and staircases that match the gold roughly at 0%. So this is what we came up with. I know it has like a nice bell curve here. So kind of looking at it at one of these angles makes it look way nicer than it does just looking at it straight on. But it is a bell. We got a bell in Minecraft, which makes me feel so happy. So what I did was I put some C blocks, as you guys can tell, some C lanterns in here. And now I want to drop the little ding-donger, dibble dobble thing. Yeah, it's called a ding-donger. That's the technical term. But it's kind of the thing that reminds me, honestly, of like a uvula, for lack of a better term. That's really, truly what it reminds me of. And so that's what we're going to call it. the bell uvula. The buvula may perhaps be its correct name, but I don't know. You know, we're living the dream, okay? Now, we got to get this guy down here because it is an extension of the bell itself. I suppose I should focus on making sure I'm actually placing these where they need to be. All right, and I think what we're going to do is to keep kind of that idea of, let's see, curious, because I want to do something where we take these guys and incorporate them into the ding-donger because they will create some light. Now, in order to do that so that it doesn't look too derpy, we're going to build up here. We're going to have a 4-pronged centralized kind of region, so to speak. And I think what we kind of want to do is, let me see here. What do we got for trap doors? Now, the dark, let's see, our oak door, our spruce won't work. We could try birch. I'm gonna get rid of the slabs because we're done with the slabs here. And we can try the jungle, and we can even try the acacia. Acacia, excuse me, is the proper term. So I want to do this and see how this looks. Now the problem is, from the bottom, that's not going to help our case at all. It's just going to kind of cover the quote-unquote problem. I'm not sure if I'm digging this trapdoor feel to it, though, if I'm going to be honest. So if we're down here, I know it creates light, but I'm not a huge fan of the trapdoor. So what we might try to do is put some, you guessed it, glass. Why? Because glass hides a world of pain. We're going to get rid of all these guys because none of them did the trick like I wanted them to. And I know there are some orange, and we even have some brown stained glass. So let's go ahead and, it's at its most basic level. Let's throw some brown glass down. It might be worth trying to get some panes going on in here. It doesn't hide it very well, does it? But if I could pull this off, will it work good enough to give us that kind of symbolic view, I guess, so to speak? Does that work good enough for the bell's uvula? I love that I'm calling it a bell uvula. Kind of makes me happy. You know what? I like that because it gives it some nice reflection. Especially, I know there's not much sun and things like that, but it does give it some reflection in itself. Let's go back to midnight. Yeah, I dig how that looks. I really do. Now the real test, we might leave those 4-prong lights up there. Look at that. Just look at that. Now I know the problem is you cannot see that bell from ground level. Frankly, in order to do that, I don't think it is a possibility, if I'm being honest, because we are basically at the build height of Minecraft since we do have a basement, which we are going to build. But you know what? I think I like it. I really, really do. Yeah. And bells don't always need to be visible from ground level. They're just there for you to hear them. I know, what a novelty. You know what? I like these fire buckets. I still can't think of their name. What do they call it? I want to say it starts with a G. I don't know. But we have these little gemstones in here that if I think we had to have what is it? It is, where's those green blocky boys? Not diamond. Is it emerald? Yeah, we needed emerald blocks around those, I think, to get them to do their thing. But we have our gems. We have their surrounded twirly magic things with the lights. We have each of those in each 4 corners. Depth of field is so weird in Minecraft. Yeah, we have the bell. I am so proud of this bell. I love it so much. I love it so much. And we might be able to maybe, you know, do some staircase or something, get some trim. Oops. Let me try something quick. What if we added some trimmerinos? Kind of give it that whole inlaid feel. Might work. It might just work. You know what? Before we close out this episode, I want to try this out to see what it looks like. And then on top of that, I would like to try, what do we got? Slabberinos. Give me them slabs, girl. Give me them slabs. I'm done with that, so. Yes, okay. That's what we're doing around the entirety of this build. We're gonna get that taken care of. That way we can leave these lights in. I'll probably replace them with like the sea lanterns because, well, frankly, sea lanterns look a little bit better and less industrial, and a little bit more mystic and magical than our beacons, at least in this particular instance. Yeah, and we're gonna do that. I'll see you guys once we get this skirt taken care of, and we will be right back. Okay, and for the last jump cut in this video, we have returned. Just look at how this guy looks in the middle of the day. I love it so much. I'm so glad that we got a bell taken care of. It adds to this build so much, and the detailing we're getting, it looks so much less flat. Now there's some other things I wanted to do here, but I think what we want to do is get the lighting, get the ambient things taken care of first, and then we'll take care of the shaping, because we don't want the shaping to not give us enough room to get the ambient things. I love how this looks so much. It gives it so much more depth, so much more depth. Loving it. And the bell looks absolutely amazing with the little bell uvula, the ding-donger, living its dream in there. And we went ahead and, as stereotypical Devon fashion, we got the staircases here, which I love, these like multi-tiered kind of like system. We put some lights on the top because nighttime, everything gets dark. And we went ahead and flattened everything here. Specifically so that the lights were flush and they weren't kind of just sticking out. They weren't eyesores. And I did add some in the middle here because this is where I think this building is going to shine. Now, we could have, all things considered, what if we were to do something like this? I keep getting out of hand with these builds. I want to see if that creates a little bit of light. Now, it'll create a little bit of light at nighttime, I guess, just for ambient. But loving it. And we'll take care of the staircase and the interior and everything once all is said and done. We may want to switch this, however, to sandstone stairs and make it into a beautiful build of beauty with chiseled sandstone. And then what we can do is put upside down staircases. Oh yes, we're gonna do it. We're just gonna see what it looks like. Oh yes, please. Oh my gosh, yes. Are you kidding me, Devin? Why didn't you think of this first? And then we have like a little pillar here that holds everything up right to the corner. Oh my gosh, that looks amazing. Does that not look so cool? It makes me want to make those pillars 4 wide. We'll take care of that in the next episode because this one's gone on way too long. And I need to get this taken care of and edited so that I can upload it for you guys today. This with that family emergency that happened, we didn't have time to record or edit yesterday, so I'm a little bit behind on that. So you'll have to forgive me if this one seems a little short or a little scatterbrained. There's a lot of things going on, but I think we're gonna have to make these 4 wide. I don't think I can live with this. Now, in order to test my theory, we're gonna do this. Oh yes, please. I can tell already that I'm gonna love it. Now, if we did that, I can so tell already that I'm gonna love this. Oh my gosh, Devin, yes. Oh, what a champ. What a flippin' champ. But before I get carried away once again, I'm gonna stop this madness, okay? We're gonna stop this madness. I'm so bad at this. Because I want to build. I want to keep building. I'm having so much fun exploring how things work. Anyways, that's going to do it for today's episode, as much as that pains me to say. Remember, liking, commenting, and subscribing are all great tools for you to get in touch with me. Let me know what you liked, didn't like, and what you want to see next. And as always, remember that we're doing that giveaway once we hit 100 subscriberinos. That's right. 100 subs, gift card, giveaway. And what am I doing with my life? I made it too wide. But that's okay, I forgive myself. Anyways, I love how that works. It's so much more dynamic, gives it so much more texture. Oh, share it with all your friends. Hit that sub notification bell icon in honor of this bell. I'm getting so cringy with this outro, but I'm so happy what we got done. I love it so much. And I love you guys. And remember, we'll see you next time. A toodles.